My friend just called me. I was just reminded of something. That what is it? Oh, right. Here's the thing. When people like me, people like myself, like other people, talk about this all the time. Like say that like it's a third world country now, like living here. Like I've spoken in videos, the social structure is starting to look like South America. Like okay, but you know what's interesting? Right there? We're really I've never mentioned it, but here's the thing. My friend called up and was like, let me put it this way. One of the things that when we use the word third world to talk about a country, like we're talking about places where all these like millions of like little kids die of preventable diseases, like preventable diseases. Like, can you believe it? Okay, that's like how we talk about like countries that. All right. Meanwhile, it's interesting. Like my friend had to take daughter to the doctor. She has a fever. There's a lot. I mean, when people then they're going to the doctor. Okay, but when people don't have people have kids and the kid gets sick. It may be that people who in the middle class, upper middle class, and higher classes they take for granted that my kid's got a fever. Let's take him to the take him to the doctor. Or the kids we don't know what's wrong. It's a virus. We'll take him to the doctor. If you can't go to a doctor though, if you actually can't take your kid to the doctor when your kid is sick, the kid can get very, very, very sick and die eventually. I mean, in other words, like getting not being able to go to a doctor means you can't get antibiotics for the flu or something. I mean, that's no joke. And that means you can't get like the medicine that would prevent your kid from getting sick. But I mean that could lead to their death. I mean, the idea that people don't realize that's what's going on when we talk about there needs to be health care, I mean, I don't know. The kind of discussion would indicate no one realizes that. No one does. I mean, they don't. Because the senators and congressmen, like the way in which they talk about it is like some of them think it's coming to take over your lives, and some of them are like, I don't know, really interested in Canada or something. I mean, there's no discussion about what it really means, And also, if they showed that thing on the air, they aired that big thing. It was kind of like, I don't know, it was meant to, like, I don't know what it was meant to do. It made people aware how many people don't have health care or something. But, they showed, they opened up in an arena, like, they had, like, free doctors, and, like, you got to see all the people, like, lining up to go see the doctor. And I don't know what the point of it was to show people how many people don't have health care. But the thing is, no, because there was a lot of people who were, like, 400 pounds and, guys, I mean, it didn't make the point I think it was meant to make, which is you have to realize when you can't say, the kind of point you'd want to explain, like when you can't take your kid to the doctor to get antibiotics or something, right? A kid can get very, very, very sick and die of something that you don't even, you could just take them if they could just go to the doctor. Not being able to go to a doctor in an industrialized country, you wonder why people have, why people hate to, have the opinion of us they do, and I mean, we apparently don't care about children or anything like that. Remember, very few people are proportion wise are privileged at all in the country. Very few people compared to the population, and the gap is so big. Like I said, it's going to be the social structure is going to be more like South America if this continues, this way of talking about something, especially with healthcare. Because here's the thing: this is the kind of issue I've often said. Look, when it's something like foreign policy or something, I mean, we just don't know sometimes. I mean, you really have to know a lot and be really educated about such things to have an opinion, But or the senators and congressmen, all right, you really have to know a lot. Like I spoke to my friend who worked for the council. But meanwhile, no, this is healthcare. Look how our representatives talk about it. It's something that affects everyone's life, like going to the doctor, getting sick, getting treatment. Okay, when it's something like this that everyone could have an informed discussion and opinion about, and it doesn't exist, there's something wrong with the country psychologically. Remember, people who are into this, go talk about the Constitution all the time and carry around a Constitution and like to hear talk about the founders and everything. Dr. Ben Carson said something about this. Chomsky says something about it too. That the country was founded on the idea of a very well-educated or well-informed population who could discuss the issues of the time intelligently. You could go to a mountain, and there was a time you could go to a mountain person and they knew what was going on and could speak about it intelligently. Right now we have, I don't know, like no one, including the representatives, knows much about anything or can talk about it when it's an issue that affects everyone.